Welcome to Inside the Mind's Eye, where we explore the introspective nature of reality, isness, thusness, allness, the things that are good. Welcome to the show. Today, the topic for today is I want to share a little bit about what my life was like before my Satori or my waking up type experience. I kind of want to share, to the best of my ability, what it was like to exist on this planet as a person, leading up to the moment of my the moment that happened when I saw what I saw, which I'll share a little bit about what that was like. I like talking about it. I don't know why. Maybe it's like a nice reminder, because I come from, like if you've been listening and watching, I come from a 12-step background of alcoholism, addiction, and recovery, and there's so much in that, so much in my life, attending those meetings and sharing my story. It's always, reminding what it was like in like the worst possible ways. Like I go to an AA meeting or a 12-step meeting to get reminded of how shitty things used to be, and that's kind of like, it's like a smelling salt to your soul, and you're like, oh shit, it's like, I'm so grateful just to exist in this chair right now. Like, I'm so grateful I get to wake up and not need anything to feel okay. Like, I'm grateful that a challenging emotion occurs, and my first thought and my reaction isn't, I'm going to drink or I'm going to use. Like, it's just great to have a new perspective. And a lot of times, being around the recovery community, you get reminded of how crappy it used to be. And I think I like going over this story of my waking up experience, because it's such an enjoyable, it gives me like an enjoyable flavor. It's like an enjoyable, entertaining type reminder of how unimaginably expressive and miraculous existence itself is. It's, if I'm not, it's so easy for me to fall back into the monotony or the day-to-day dream state or sleep state of working and being a father and being a partner, and it's without things like this to kind of like to remind me of like what really is going on. It's like I can kind of lose touch with what's really going on. So I'd like to share. I'll share a little bit. I'll share the story again, and I'll share a little bit about what my life was like leading up to that moment, and then that moment, and then what it was like afterwards. I think could be fun to listen to. So and I want to preface what, before I share this story, where I'm currently at. I think it's important to acknowledge and represent what my meditative and my experiential practice is today, before we go into this crazy story and an examination of what had happened, what it was like before, and what it was like after. I think it's important to really magnify what it is like right now. And right now, I mean, the best way to describe what my practice is, or what I lean into is consciousness itself. So, I'm no longer and this is the other thing too. I listen to a lot of people, and I listen to a lot of videos and talks and podcasts of teachers, Dzogchen teachers, Buddhist teachers, mindfulness, experiential, personas and non-dual people. And I think the first thing to point out before I go into what my practice is, there's like a base level of understanding that this experience provided me that I wasn't aware of at the time, that I can communicate and understand appropriately now. And one of the things that this experience did was it unlocked the awareness that there is no will, there is no choice, and everything is arising spontaneously on its own. So once I was able to see that, and this is where it goes into yoga, the science of yoga is this is something anyone can see. And I've talked about this before, and I'm going to talk about it probably for the rest of my life, because I think it is it's the keystone or the foundation that allows a well state of being, and it allows for the mind to calm itself. It's through this understanding. Even along with the meditative practice, which I'll share here in just a moment of what I actually do. I think this base level understanding is crucial because it allows the non-judgment. It allows for not messing with what occurs internally and externally. Like it gives the ability to see the ego as for what it is rather than what I am. And it really is. It was the experience provided for me an awareness and a recognition and an understanding that everything internally and externally is arising on its own without choice, without will. It's all just happening. So when I could see that, and you can see that if you pay attention, if you watch what's happening internally, if you watch what happens as I'm speaking or as you're moving, you can watch anytime throughout the day. You can watch the thing that you think is choosing. You can wait for that thing to appear within your consciousness and go, okay, I'm watching the thing that's watching my thoughts, or I'm watching the thing that's watching my body move through time and space. And then you can see like, well, what is that? Where did that come from? And then you could go try to find where that came from. And you'll end up in a loop, and it'll just loop itself over and over. And you can play around with that as much as you want, but eventually it can all just drop, and you can see very clearly that there is no will, there is no choice. And when that can happen, once you can see that, once a person can see that, all the rest of this stuff is like a lot easier. It actually affords a meditative experience by nature of itself. And so what I do when I practice meditation, which I don't believe is a real thing, I in the sense that returning to or being, returning to being is it. It's an acknowledgement of being is a meditative life. It's not, I don't have to, there's no technique or no discipline. There's nothing to do. And that's because of what I just shared. Because there is no will, there is no choice, there is no control. When you are reminded, or when you see this, or when you are this, meditation is just what's happening, and it's just what is. And it can be anytime, as often as you like throughout the day. And so when I go into that space, and I'll give you an example, is like I'm working at the warehouse, I'm doing manual labor, I'm listening to podcasts, and then I look at what I'm doing, I watch my hands move, I watch myself breathe, and I realize, or I acknowledge, consciousness itself, the flavorless, colorless, contentless background film out of which all material, internally and externally, arises. And it's almost as if what I guess what you could imagine meditation to be would be like a mindfulness practice where you're watching your thoughts or you're watching your body. And then eventually you're watching the thing that's watching your thoughts and watching your body. And then eventually you realize that everything that you are and everything that is arising from and as this colorless, tasteless, sightless, soundless space or non-space field. Let's call it a field of your own vision or field of your own consciousness. That everything is arising, falling, or expressing itself as and of and from this, whatever this is, consciousness. And that's it. So I just go, whoa. Or I don't even go, whoa. I just acknowledge what it is I just shared. That acknowledgement of that. And it's really curious because nothing else has to happen. and it doesn't create a excited state of being. It doesn't do anything emotionally or intellectually or experientially. It really is a nullness, a nothingness. So there's nothing really exciting about it, and there's nothing out of the ordinary about it. It's so, and I was talking to a friend on the phone about this, that it's so, this power, or this being, or this is so close. It's closer than your own eyes. It's closer than your own breath. And it's so close, and it's so normal that you don't notice it, or you can't notice it. It's unnoticeable. And that's basically it. So there's no real excitement, or there's no real changing of the temperature of the being. There's no change of temperature of my own being. So like, for another example would be like, if I get upset, like this morning I was talking to Melissa, and I'd shared with her a video I watched yesterday, or listened to. I thought it was great. It was this Tibetan Buddhist monk. She was from England. She lived in a cave for 12 years in the 60s. And then she was on this talk, like just recently interviewed, and she's like 80, 90 years old. And she just was like sharing the most practical wisdom, that it was just so like, not even common sense, but just like rooted and grounded. There wasn't any airy fairiness about it. It was like, you could listen to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. He'd be saying the same shit. Like, it was just, but it was coming from a space of, it was in reference to the Dharma teachings. But anyway, I sent it to her, and she was like, I can't stand people in caves. She was like, I think it's the stupidest waste of time. You know, like, why would you ever spend time in a cave? And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, like, don't you, like, you spent 8 years learning to be a vet so you could help animals. These people spend 8 to 12 years learning about suffering in their own mind so they can help us. Like, I don't see a difference. But for her, she's got like a huge, wall there. She just thinks it's, to wear the robes or become a sannyasin or a monastic is a complete waste of time and resources, and it doesn't help anybody. And I mean, like, she's allowed to have that opinion. And I enjoy, like, I'm not going to say I enjoy it, because what happened was I got super upset. Like, I was like, we got back and forth, and I was like, I don't understand how you could say what you're saying. It's crazy. Like, how could you be so obtuse? And I'm noticing that I'm getting angry and upset. And then I remembered consciousness, like I just described. Like, I just was like, oh, I just went into that. I didn't even go anywhere. I just was like, you see, that's the thing about my meditative practice, or a meditative practice. There's nowhere to go with it. But I noticed that this is what was happening. Like, this is what was happening. And it didn't change. It didn't change the fact that I was upset and that we were having a tiff back and forth. But it did kind of loosen the grip a little bit. And then we gave each other a kiss and said, have a great day. But I wanted to share that, because the practice itself, it occurs on its own. So there's nothing that you need to do, and it doesn't change your state of being. Like it's not going to stop myself from being upset, or it's not going to make me happy, or it's not going to make me laugh. It's just going to be what is. But what does occur over time is the length of time at which frustrated type emotions stay gets lessened and lessened and lessened. And then the absurdity, or the recognition of what is occurring in real time, becomes actualized. Before I go into I wanted to share a little bit about what my practice is today, and how not special it is, and how anybody can do it. And I also wanted to make sure that the cornerstone, or the keystone, the non-choosing, the choiceless awareness is important when it comes to this type of stuff. That to be able to see that makes everything else a lot easier. And I can imagine that people might be upset when they think that they don't have free will, or they don't have choice. And this is a great quote. I really like this one, but it's the person that doesn't have free will isn't actually who you are anyway. So it's actually who you really are is beyond what the body, mind, thought-based living can create. It's beyond that. And there's ultimate freedom there, because it's to meld into this meditative state of choiceless awareness. It's almost as if life itself is a canvas that's being created and painted in real time. And it's like ultimately interesting and expressive and unknowable and entertaining. And you are that. And so it's, the freedom is like anything can happen. And you can actually, like, at least for me, I've had insights where I've been able to visualize something that is of interest to me, and I've been able to write it out, draft it out, and set an intention for it, and then completely let it go, forget about it, and then all of a sudden I wake up and here I am, 6 episodes in of a podcast that I'm enjoying making, and it doesn't feel stressful and it doesn't feel grippy like it always has. And this was like an intention or a vision that happened months ago that I never knew when or how it would manifest, but it is, and it arrives, and all of a sudden life becomes a game. There's no wrong, there's no right, and whatever you want to do or whatever you can do becomes possible, because there's no more the attachment to who I think I am, the attachment to what I think I should be doing or what the world is, dissolves. So there's no free will for the person, right? Acknowledging that, being able to see that in your contemplative or meditative practices, or by listening to talks like this, you'll eventually start to be able to see it. You'll start to see that you're reacting and responding in ways that you're not choosing. And even when you choose to sit and not do it, that's still something occurring on its own without you didn't actually choose it. You thought you were choosing it, but you didn't. You'll see all that. And then all of a sudden you can but all of a sudden you'll be able to relax into being, which is everything I was sharing about. It's like just relaxing into being is, and I can't even say it's a practice. It's just what is, or what can be, or what is happening. So, and the limits of language are very real, you guys. They're very real. So I'm going to do my best here to try to explain these things, and I don't want to over-explain it, because I think just through sharing, just through communicating, the message can get caught. And it doesn't have to be understood intellectually either. You can play around with it intellectually and see how it makes you feel. And you can talk, or you can post and share a comment or share your experience or disagree. And you can see what's rising up. What is this thing that's disagreeing? What is this thing that's agreeing? What is this thing that's thinking? Everything that occurs in your immediate experience is an opportunity for growing deeper into, or relaxing deeper into yourself, who or what you really are. Everything, even the upset arguments in the morning, the excitements of something good happening, everything can help show you where you are, who you are, what you are. And I know that I wanted to share the story of, what it was like before and what it was like after. I feel like this episode is kind of a meditative examination or meditative acknowledgement. I think this is important to understand before we go into this story. So I think it'll be a 2-parter here. So this first part is just, I think, very important, really to iron down and solidify that free will is an illusion, and there's no ability to actually choose anything right now in this moment in time. So once that can get established, then you can move into then you can relax into being, and that's all you do forever and always till the end of time. And I'll go ahead and share what happened before, what happened during, and what happened after on the next episode. So Thank you for sitting. Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining. If you have any questions, if I didn't explain things as well as I probably could have, let me know. I'll take another crack at it. Probably going to be talking more about this. This is really the only thing that is currently of interest to me. And I hope you're doing well. If nobody's told you they loved you today, yeah, Tomias, I do. Yeah, thanks for joining. And we'll be back next week with my waking up story, the before and the after.